non-teaching staff in the nation's universities have begun a 2-week warning strike.
The Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities made this known in a statement jointly signed by their leaders. The union said the decision to embark on a warning strike was in fulfillment of their resolve to begin industrial action as soon as the federal government directed universities to resume academic activities.
Issues in dispute include alleged inconsistencies of the integrated payroll and personal information system in the payment of salaries, non-payment of arrears of earned allowances despite various memoranda of understanding, non-payment of arrears of national minimum wage, and non-payment of retirement benefit to outgone members. Well, joining us in the studio is Chairman Untitled NASU Chapter, Dr. Dele Ashiru. Good morning, Dr. Ashiru. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning for this evening.
Good morning.
Now, there's been a back and forth, seemingly, between the union and government. In March, when this the strike began, there were talks. Government talked about making effort towards addressing the issues. In August, the union came out to say that it has brought out some things that it wants the government to address. All of this, talk to us now. Where are we with all of this back and forth and discussions?
Nowhere.
Why is that?
Well, it's unfortunate that we have a government that is not situating education in the scheme of things in terms of development in Nigeria.
Are you saying this because you're not getting the right response from government? What is the basis for the statement?
Well, let me say that first, since 2009, we had an agreement with government. All the unions, which ought to be renegotiated every 3 years, between 2009 and today, there has not been any renegotiation of the agreement. Not only that, the agitation of our union had led to 2 memorandum of understanding, 2 memoranda of action. None of these memoranda had been implemented by government. And they bother on how to develop the education sector in such a way that it will become globally competitive. Not only that, government forcefully enrolled our members.
When you say forcefully, how do you mean?
Yeah, what I mean is that there were negotiations between our union and government.
Right.
About the deployment of the integrated personnel and integrated payroll system. Now, government at that negotiation agreed that at the completion of the development of UTAS, which is the University Transparency and Accountability Solution, government will deploy that solution. While that was ongoing, government unilaterally, the Accountant General of the Federation, unilaterally enrolled our members. As I speak with you, members in Nigerian universities, our members, are being owed up to 7-8 months salaries in some universities. But
there was the conversation between your union and the Accountant General in his office on how the IPPIS would be deployed. Were issues raised at that point? Because you said the development of the UTAS. What were the issues raised at that point that wasn't addressed?
Yeah, the issue that was raised was that UTAS was to be developed. After its development, government will deploy it.
Instead of the IPPIS?
Yeah, instead of the IPPIS. But at that time, our salaries had been stopped. It took the intervention of the head of state, President Muhammadu Buhari, to direct that we should be paid. We were being paid. All of a sudden, the Accountant General of the Federation, who had shown himself to be thoroughly lawless, unilaterally.
You have to be careful with the words you use
here. Because you see, when you have, an officer of the state who swore to obey the laws of the land, and you find such officer unilaterally violating that same law.
But the president had insisted that everyone be
I am telling you that as chairman, the president didn't say that. because the negotiations that we had didn't indicate that. Our union met with the president, and at that discussion, it was clear that people in the Accountant General office are just hell-bent on castrating public university education in Nigeria. I tell you, as I speak with you...
Why would they want to do that quickly?
Well, you see, it's an ideological problem. You know that an educated populace is difficult, to cheat. And going by the kind of politics we play in Nigeria, you need an uninformed, docile, very reticent group of people to be treated the way Nigerians have been treated.
That's
so education represents, an empowerment for the people in such a way that they will know how to hold government accountable and transparent.
All right. ASU is going on strike. NASU and non-academic staff also are going on strike. And a lot of people believe that this is ill-timed.
No, that belief will be wrong. It will be wrong because, like I mentioned earlier, our colleagues have not been paid for 3 months. Some for 8 months. Some for 5-6 months.
So you're saying that you're not concerned that this is going to affect the school's curriculum, or calendar, and the students will be affected?
You see, we should also see the linkage between the motivation of teachers and how they teach their students. If I remain dejected, removed, depressed, how do I teach these same students well? And bear in mind that this struggle that we're embarking on is what parents and our students should actually be taking on. Look, what are we saying? Put money in the university system so that our students can live well in the hostel, buy books in the library, put reagents in the laboratory, motivate the teachers so that education can be globally competitive.
But that doesn't seem to be part of the demands the association is making.
For example, we talk about revitalization of decaying infrastructures in the university. If you go around universities, you attended the university.
Absolutely.
A room that was originally built for 2-3 people are today being occupied by 12-18 people. There are no seats in the classrooms. Mm-hmm. You find students milling around on the window and the corridor when lectures are going on. You enter a library, you can find books there. You go to laboratories, there are no reagents there. So when we say revitalize public university, what we are simply saying is that make sure that the environment with which students learn are conducive and globally competitive.
So why wait till this time?
No, but it's not now. I told you about the 2009.
Schools are about to resume. Why wait at this time when students have been at home for a very long time?
No, ASU had been on strike since March. And between March and today is enough time for government to resolve.
So what was the level of engagement with government between that time and now?
Government is not responding to our demands. Like you heard the Honorable Minister of Labour said on television last week, a letter that had been written to that office since March only got a reply last week. And not only that, he proposed a meeting for which we have not gotten any invitation. Let me tell you, it may shock you to know that no professor in Nigerian university earns above 450,000 naira in this country. And that is the same professor that is expected to do research and teach these same students that we are talking about.
So on what grounds will your union shift grounds for government?
Thank you very much. For ASU,
yes.
I don't know about any other union.
For ASU, quickly.
For ASU, government should pay all outstanding or withheld salaries, like I said, some 8 months, 6 months, 3 months. Renegotiate the 2009 agreement and also fulfill all the agreements contained in the 2019.
And if the government doesn't respond, what's going to happen?
The status quo remains.
All right.
Okay.
Dr. Dele Ashiru, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for this invitation.